Hello and welcome. Today I'm doing another lipstick-based look video, and the lipstick I've chosen for today is Lisa Eldridge's Velvet Midnight. So I'm going to be creating this whole look based on this color and the concept of the color. So if you'd like to see everything I used and how I did this look and my thoughts behind my choices for this look, just keep on watching. All right, so I've started with my base and I recorded that when I was doing it. So I'm just going to show you that footage while I talk through a little bit what I did and why I did that. For my foundation, I used a combination of the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation with a pump of the Auric Glow Lust in Morganite, the newer one. And I also used a pump of my By Terry Brightening CC Serum in the shade Sunny Flash, which is the more bronzy toned one. I did that because I wanted kind of a glowing matte type of finish. I wanted a decent amount of coverage, and I also wanted a sort of neutralized tone. I needed to add a little bit of warmth into it, so that's why I threw in the By Terry. And I just mixed all those together and then applied it with my Real Technique sponge because I like the way that works with the Shiseido foundation. It was kind of a thicker concoction of base products, so I find that the sponge does a really nice job of applying that and not making it look too heavy, but still allowing me to get enough coverage. Then for concealer, I used a combination of the Rose Ink concealer and my Lancôme Teint Idole concealer. Again, I did that for the combination of finishes that I get with those. The Rose Ink is a more dewy finish and it has a really nice high coverage. The Lancôme is a more sort of natural matte type of finish. And it also is a bit of a deeper tone than the Rose Ink. So again, I didn't want to go too bright and light on the base, and I wanted a nice neutral color. So that's why I mixed those two. And again, I was getting really nice coverage with that mixture. I applied that with a Real Technique sponge as well, one of the little ones. And that just really helped to, just like with the foundation, create a nicely covered base, but still pretty natural and not cakey looking on the skin. Then for powder, again, I mixed two products. I mixed my Sisley loose powder and my La Mer loose powder. Again, it was for that combination of tones in there. The La Mer runs a little bit yellowy and the Sisley is a nice sort of rosy, pinky undertoned powder. And both of them actually allow for a little bit of that sort of soft, glowing matte type of finish. So I thought that they would be perfect for this look, and I basically put that all over my face because I'm going to be using mostly powder products. I forgot to mention that I did use the Lisa Eldridge Elevated Glow in Crystal Nebula on the high points of my face, on my cheekbones, and a little bit on my forehead right after my skincare before I applied any foundation, concealer, or anything like that. Then after I powdered, I went in with my Dior matte bronzer in the shade 4 Tan Bronze. That is the perfect bronzer shade for me. It's a neutral tone on me. It's a matte finish. It's not going to take over anything, but it's going to give enough color that my complexion won't look too washed out or too sort of bright and white, I suppose. I also did my brows, as I always do, with my Anastasia Dip Brow in the shade Caramel, and now I'm ready to do the eye look. I'm going to be using the Natasha Denona Retro palette. This will be my second time using it. I really loved it the first time I used it, and I thought that these tones would be really nice for this look. So thinking of Velvet Midnight, obviously the lip is a real statement in this look, but I need to have enough going on with the eyes that it doesn't look too stark, but not too much going on the eyes so that it's really competing with the lips. I need it to just balance out. I need the components to complement each other nicely. So I'm going to do a fairly standard, uncomplicated kind of smoky eye. And so I'm going to start out with Mod right here on my classic crease brush. And Mod is just a standard matte formula. And it's just going to give me a little base to start on, just putting it through the crease. Okay, now I'm going to go into a couple of the cream to powders. I'm going to go into Go-Go as well as Andy. I'm going to go back and forth between those two shades. And Go-Go is a little bit of a sort of warmer neutral, and Andy is definitely more toward the cool side. So I think those will work nicely together. And again, just using my classic crease and basically covering that whole crease area and bringing it into the inner part of the eye. I went in with quite a lot of pigment on that brush, so I'm going to take my artist brush with nothing on it, and I'm just sort of blending right around the top of where that shade is, just so it's a little bit more of a gradual diffused edge there and not too stark. And I'm bringing it pretty much right up to my eyebrows. I want to make my eyes look a little bit bigger with this eye look, and so I find that bringing the eyeshadow up a little bit higher can really help with that. All right, now to build in some depth into the crease here, I'm going to take my mini booster from Sonia G, and I'm going to start with just Rebellion here and see how that goes, and then I may add something else as well. Rebellion is another cream to powder, so it doesn't quite show up as deep initially as it might look in the pan. Makes it a bit of a more buildable shade. All right, and now with my soft definer, this is from the Sonia G Lotus set. Goes pretty perfectly with the retro palette. I'm going to take that and I'm going to go into Eau Part here, which I think is the deepest shade in this palette. And I just want to add some further definition and depth into the crease here, as well as just a kind of touch of it along the edge of the lash line here, pulling it up on an angle. Okay, and now I'm going to go back into Go Go right here. I'm just going to kind of blend right up high here, just to bring that little bit of the more sort of warm, neutral rose color back into the look. I think that's going to provide a nice contrast to the other cool tones on the lid and the coolness of the lip as well. I'm going to blend it a little bit out here too and just kind of diffuse a little bit of a wing shape on the outside of the eye. And this again is to hopefully kind of enlarge the eyes a little bit. Now I'm going to go back into Maud, which is that really light sort of creamy pink shade, using my soft shader brush from Sonia G and placing this on the mobile lid, pulling it a little bit into the inner corner. And just to get a little bit more control, applying it to the inner corner, I'm taking my Wayne Goss 07 from the Edit series. Just blending that in the inner corner. Taking the soft definer, which I used for that deepest shade, and I'm not putting anything additional on it, but it still has a little bit of that color left. And I'm just sort of reintroducing it where the Maud shade might have blanked it out a little bit. Just right on the inner part of the eyes. And actually I'm going to take a little bit more of that dark shade and really lightly pull it out in the same direction that I had used Go Go. Again, just to sort of extend that shape of the eye. Now I want a little bit of definition at the lash line, so I'm going into Groove right here. A little angled liner brush from Sigma. And just placing that right along the lash line. Now for the lower lash line, I want to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to go into Nude Mauve or Nude Mauve on my Wayne Goss number 7 again. And you can see I've already got a little bit of a sort of transfer from the shadows I used up above, but that's fine. It's just going to make the look more cohesive. I'm going to go into Glitz. This is the Duochrome metallic shade. It's really beautiful. And I'm just going to blend out right at the bottom of the shadow that's blended on the lower lash line already. I'm not doing this to really showcase this color. It's more to just kind of soften the lower lash line and just add a little bit of something interesting there, but not necessarily something that's really going to stand out. Now I just want a tiny bit of that same shade right on the bottom, the inner part of the bottom lash line. So I'm taking my flat definer brush and I'm using my Pat McGrath Artistry wand. I'm getting that on the brush, and then I'm going to go into Glitz and just kind of stamp it right there and just blend out a tiny little bit. Since I have that on the brush, I'm going to put it right under my brow arch too. I didn't add any additional product from that Pat McGrath wand, but there is still a little bit left on the brush. So it's probably intensifying the shine a little bit. But I'm just sweeping it on very lightly, just to complete that eye look. I'm actually going to leave the eyes there for now. I'll finish up with my liner and mascara later once I have everything else on, I think, and I'll just take a look and see what's going to be the best eyeliner color on my waterline and so on. So now I actually want to put the lipstick on because that's really going to determine how much blush I put on and the blush placement and so on. So I have a little bit of a lip balm on right now. I'm going to wipe it off and then I'm going to come back and we'll apply the lipstick. I haven't used this lipstick in quite a long time, so I just wanted to warm it up a little bit and also get a color swatch. So I just put some on the back of my hand. And if I blend it out a little bit, I think with dark lipsticks especially, that really helps to see what the undertones are. So you can see it's quite a cool toned color. Obviously lots of purple in there and lots of kind of cool pink in there as well. So I'm gonna be keeping all of that in mind when I do my blush. I'm gonna start out just going straight from the bullet, but I also have a lip brush that I'm going to use to kind of perfect everything and make sure it's all looking good. All right, the lip is on. Hopefully it looks okay. And now I'm going to move into blush. Planning to use a couple of different blushes. I'm going to start with the Pat McGrath Divine Rose blush. I just thought this went really well with the whole sort of mauve theme of the look, and it would look nice with the lipstick. And so just going in with my soft cheek brush and putting that onto the cheek. I always tend to like to bring my blush pretty strong on the apple of the cheek. I just like how that works with my face shape, and I think it's going to be good for this look too, just to bring a little bit of fullness right onto the apples of the cheeks so that nothing looks too stark. and it still looks really nice and lively. I've pulled it through the forehead. I'll put a little on the chin, and I'll pull it across the nose too. I think that's good for that blush, but I do think it needs a bit more of a pop of a really bright pink. So I'm gonna pull in my By Terry Brightening CC palette. This is the one that came out this year. I'm gonna go right into that really bright bubblegum pink. Yeah, I think that's bringing a nice life into the skin. It was just a little bit too purpley with just the Divine Rose blush. And I'm trying to keep this a little bit higher up on the apples here. Just sweep it over the edge of the eyes as well, blending onto the forehead, chin, nose. And now for a little bit of glow, I'm going to use my Westman Atelier Peau de Rose Lit Up Highlighter. I'm taking my Westman Atelier blender brush right into that pan, and I want to place this over the blush as well as a little bit up on the higher points of the cheeks. And then just to make sure it's all blended, taking the end of my sponge here, it has nothing on it, but it's still a little damp. I'm just kind of lightly tapping to blend everything together. Okay, and now that everything else is on, I'm ready to finish up the eyes, and I've decided I want a little bit of contrast. So I'm taking my Chantecaille Olive Brocade liner. It's a beautiful kind of shimmering olive green. I'm gonna do my upper waterline. I might do my lower waterline. You'll see when I come back. And I'm gonna put my Lancôme Idole mascara on, and then I'll come back and show you the whole completed look. Okay, now that the eyes are all finished, I did put it on the upper and lower waterline, that liner, and then I did my mascara on the top and bottom lashes. Now that I'm seeing it all, I feel that I need a little bit more warmth on the cheeks and I need a little bit more glow. So I'm going back with my soft cheek brush, and I'm taking this peachy shade from Natasha Denona. This is the Blush Duo palette in number 10. And I think that the blush shade is called 05 Sheer Peachy Nude. It's a warmer color than the other ones I used, but not too warm. And I'm just pulling a little bit more warmth and life into the cheeks. And I'm going to take this Fenty Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal highlighting duo using my medium Wayne Goss Artist brush. I'm just going to go into both of those shades, focusing a little bit more on the less glittery one. And get that glow going. All right, and here's the completed Velvet Midnight look. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was really fun to create a look based around this lipstick. I know I have a hard time wearing dark lipsticks. I don't often go for them, but I think it's really fun to wear a dark vampy lip like this sometimes. And I think if you keep a few things in mind, it can really help you to pull off this type of a lip. I think having enough coverage on your base is important to blank out any of that sort of redness that can really be enhanced by a dark lip like this. And then I think just making sure to try and keep the complexion fresh at the same time, and having enough color and warmth going on with the rest of the look, and then making sure that you're balancing the eyes with the lips to create a really nice cohesive overall look. I think if you keep all of those things in mind, that can really help. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or comments below. I always love to see those. And if you'd like to see more from me and you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I'd really love for you to do so. Thanks again so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video.